So we've done Yoga Sutras, 8 of them till now, still chapter 1 verse 8 only. We were talking about the modifications of the mind stuff, the vrittaya, what were the vrittaya, and one of them was the Vikalpa, the conceptualization. So the 9th verse, Yoga Sutra chapter 1 verse 9 deals with the issue of how conceptualization becomes a trap, or conceptualization becomes without your knowing it, it becomes a limitation, or it becomes an impediment or an obstacle. It's quite a fascinating verse, the normal commentaries just deal with it in, yeah, okay, he said how it can be, and everybody understands, yes, it's pretty obvious statement of fact. But I find there are certain little in jokes that he has placed in there, or there are certain little word plays that he has done to give a deeper meaning, because that's the way that the sutras are written in that way. They are written in a way that they trigger you to think and to ponder quite outside the norm, outside the parallel. So it's only 6 words, it's a very small sutra, it's quite simple. Sabda Jnana Anupatin Vastu Sunya Vikalpa. We are talking about Vikalpa, conceptualization. We had briefly touched with Vikalpa in our earlier talks. Shabda Jnana Anupatin Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. So there are 2-3 ways of looking at it. Shabda, of course, in this case doesn't mean sound, it means the verbalization. So when you verbalize something, that is Shabda. Jnana is, of course, the knowledge. Anupatin means it follows. But why did he use the word patin or pati? Because Anupati, because patan or pati means to fall. So very clearly he is giving an indication of that the quality of jnana falls, it dips. There is a dip when you get trapped in this kind of vrittaya. It's the yoga chitta vritti, So he was chitta vritti nirodha. So since till nirodha happens, he was talking about what are the kinds of vrittis. This is the vritti of vikalpa. Vastu means object, thing. Shunya means void. And vikalpa is, of course, the conceptualization. So what they are saying is, it is perfectly possible without a tangible object, just on the basis of verbalization or verbal knowledge, it is perfectly possible to hold a concept and live and act and die by that. Which means that you can hold a belief, or you can hold a philosophy, or you can hold a way of living without there being any object, any perceivable or actual or reality object being there. You can actually have beliefs which do not have any grounding in reality. There is no vastu there. There is no data, there is no evidence. Yeah. Basically, it means you can live in complete delusion. You can just create a certain, Shabda Jnana Anupatin Vastu Shunyo Vikalpa. I am like, my God, what has he just said? He has just explained the whole process of delusion. He has explained the whole process of being committed to batshit insane theories, and of course there is a problem because the way we use the word theory is not the scientific way. Scientifically, hypothesis is an explanation that covers all the explorable, the observable phenomena. Theory is when you have tested that explanation, you have evidence for it, it is replicated and nobody can disprove it. A theory is truth only insofar as it is not yet disproved. If somebody else comes with some other kind of observation, so Vikalpa in this case means hypothesis, it does not mean theory. No, but people confuse hypothesis and theory all the time when they actually mean hypothesis, but they say theory. Theory only means that there is solid evidence, the explanation works whenever we try, and as yet nobody has been able to disprove it. Science always keeps that door open, that as yet nobody has been able to disprove it. So what science is also saying is Vastu Shunya won't do. There has to be data, there has to be actual something tangible that can be replicated. There has to be something. That is why he used that word Anupatin, that sense of the fall, that sense of the consciousness has taken at this moment a dip. There is a less than quality to it, to what you are doing, because it is basically khayali pulav, as they say, or castles in the air. With no foundation, you have just held it up. Now, this is why they say that Patanjali is an atheist, because this goes against all theological positions normally. But Patanjali is very clear. You follow my instructions, you can experience what I am telling you. Why would you believe without experience, without Vastu? Why would you believe without evidence, without Vastu? Why would you believe without data? Why would you believe without... Now, the thing is, without any foundation, without any rationale, you can have an entire fantastic train of thought. Now, is that always wrong? Not at all. Why? Most creativity is like that. No? If you write a new story about a new world, when J.R.R. Tolkien invented the Lord of the Rings, the whole world of Middle-earth, of course he was working on older myths, but he created something new. That is a positive aspect of Vikalpa. Vikalpa is not always bad, but the problem is if you live by that, if you create, because this is especially true for yogis, if you create a mentally strong construction, if you create something that is mentally strong, you can get trapped in that. You create a system with no evidence, no data, no experience. Nobody else has tried the system and had the same experiences as you, but you just create it and you can actually go and live in that created fantasy world, and over there you will progress in your sadhana and you will have the experience of merging into the divine, and you will have the experience, everything that you anticipate you will have there, and it will all be a purely mental construct. So that is why he keeps hammering away on Vikalpa. Sabda Jnana, because with the Shabda you created a whole fortress of Jnana. With the verbalization or the thought process, you created a whole fortress, and now you actually think these are truthful experiences. And they are not. That is exactly what is the consensus trance. The consensus trance or the consensus delusion. Tom Thompson, American yogi, fantastic guy. Martial artist, Kundalini Yoga, hardcore. He is the one who articulated that. Consensus trance. And I call it the consensus delusion. But you don't even need consensus. That is the real problem. You can enter into a mental construction. You can do a Vikalpa of your own. And then you are convinced, I have become enlightened. Why? Because you read so many books, and in those books these were the various stages of attainment, of enlightenment, and you convince. This can happen mentally, it can happen even in meditation. That is one of the dangers of yogic meditation, that people can go into an interior dimension and over there they become like another Vishwamitra, another Brahma. They start creating a whole interior world. Why would you want to come out of that? Over there you are God, you are the creator. You can do, reality is whatever you want. And many yogis sitting in caves and all that. Not all of them, but good percentage, about 20% of them are not progressing. They have got locked and trapped in their own Vikalpa. They've created one internal reality world and now they are stuck there. So this is just like a, I mean, this is harrowing if you think of it. This is because he is saying you are conceptualizing reality, you are describing reality, and many people think because they have described something, because they have defined something, therefore they have understood it, and even worse, therefore it is true. Sri Aurobindo once said that the catchy phrase is like the ring through the nose of the bull. You just insert your stick and then you can lead mankind with it. So he was talking about that whole, the Sabda Jnana, Anupatin, Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. You just need the appearance. It just needs to sound good. The verbalization merely needs to be plausible. It doesn't have to be advertising. Exactly, that's what I was going to come. All of advertising lives and dies by this. They live and die by this one. Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. Conceptualization and commitment. You see, the Vikalpa, the problem with the Vikalpa is people become fanatical about it. Their beliefs, because they have invested in their beliefs, their theories, and then that becomes a substitute for thought. Again, Vastu Sunya Vikalpa, because you have only catchphrases. So for the yogi to buy into ideology is very difficult. The yogi cannot buy into ideology because he knows this. Vastu Sunya Vikalpa. So and the point is it replicable? Yes, certain person may have done something exceptional and he was the first. Certain person was a pioneer. Can somebody else get there? To say that no, I am the only person for whom this experience is possible, that is not a yogic, that is a cult. Then that is a cult, that is a control. That is a control mechanism. No, it is possible only for me. Because I am an avatar, or because, Shiva manifested in front of me and gave me a special gift. The point is, if you have experienced, others should be able to experience. No doubt new things are happening in spirituality and in yoga, but the fact that Siddha Vallabha attained the body of light means, in theory, maybe not in practice for a while, but in theory, everybody who is dedicated and committed to yoga can attain the body of light. The fact that Aurobindo and the mother pushed the boundaries of yoga in the way they did, they were geniuses, no doubt, but it means we can also go there. They never said that only we can do it. We are the only persons capable of doing it. The thing is, without data, without evidence, without any focus, without any link or contact with reality, you can keep, the mind keeps rolling. That is the definition of insanity. You can keep your mind going with no nourishment. The processes of mind, which is why in yoga stop the mind, just still this thought wave of mind. Chitta vritti nirodha, that because this automatic process, it is almost an instinctual process where the mind just keeps bouncing. It just keeps going forward with no connection to any discernible reality. Vastu Shunya, there is no Vastu, it is Shunya, there is void. If you look at, the more fanatic, usually the stupider the beliefs and the less evidence there is. The inversely proportional, because wisdom and knowledge leads to certain maturity, it leads to certain possibility for change, it leads to certain understanding. The 100% certainty is always dangerous. Saying that this is it, this is the seal, this is finality, there cannot be anything further. But it comes from the Sabda Jnana Anupatin because you have bought into the Sabda Jnana, because you think that the verbalization is wisdom. It follows therefore that your concepts are without any foundation. It follows that your concepts are not resting on reality. Most vikalpas are a problem for this reason, but like I said, creativity is a positive vikalpa. When you're creating a new world, you're creating a new visual. When a painter is trying to create a new kind of form or image, and in fact, Werner Herzog keeps saying that we are thirsty, mankind is thirsty for new visuals. We don't have enough visuals. We don't have new and fresh and original visuals, and it's true because the way the internet has exploded and everything, when they first shot those high definition pictures of the star trails, they would leave the camera and then you could see in the night sky, they would cause these like circles of light, how the stars would move. When those first pictures came out, everybody was like, wow, and then nowadays within 3 months they become boring. Or those first pictures that they took where plants and small insects were covered in dew with exceptional magnification. They are awesomely beautiful pictures. Today they are the worst kind of cliches. So the sense of not having a new concept or even a new experience is very deep. It is a great hunger in human beings. Shabda Jnana Anupatin Vikalpa would have been fine. If the verbalization is a true verbalization and it is a wise verbalization, it follows therefore that a nice proper conceptualization, but he has inserted those two words in between, no? Vastu Shunya. Man, this guy. So verbal delusion or delusion arises when words don't correspond with reality. 1984, the whole book is about how you change words so that they do not correspond with reality, so that words can be used to disguise reality. One of the funniest episodes in that book is there are 3 great powers in the world, and the place where they live in England, it is always at war with one or the other powers. So they have a rally. They have a rally to demonstrate against the power that they are fighting with, but the previous night they switch sides and now they are allies with the so all the signs that they have built are now out of date, and they don't miss a beat. They immediately decide this is sabotage. This is being done by our enemies. There is no cognitive dissonance, or rather there is only cognitive dissonance. Even for 1 minute they don't think that the evidence is going against our conceptualization. The conceptualization is always more important than the evidence, and that is a basic fundamental of fanaticism, that our mental construct, what we hold in our mind, is greater than truth and reality. So because India is a yogic country, I think that is the reason why fanaticism does not get very deep roots in the Hindu culture. The Indian cultures are not very fanatic that way for this one reason, because we have this deep-seated yogic thing of Vastu Sunya Vikalpa, okay, keep it there. Vastu Shunya Vikalpa, keep it there. It means that we are jumping to conclusions. It means that without any basis, without any evidence, without even any focus, is there an object that you're focusing on? Is there something Is there a point to what you are saying? Now, very often we ask people, and what are you talking about? I don't understand anything that you are saying, or I don't understand what you have written. Shabda Jnana. The verbalization seems like wisdom to them. I said it, therefore it has value. Not necessarily. It is almost like he has described mental illness. He has described how people delude themselves. He has described how people make themselves ill. Socrates famously said that if you would argue with me, define your terms. But he never said because you've defined your terms, therefore they are correct, or therefore they are true. Because once you defined your terms, you would just unpack it to show that you didn't know what you were talking about. That by your own logic you were wrong, or you were holding a defective position. Those three words, Vastu, Shunya, Vikalpa, object void conceptualization, as if you have an empty head but it is nevertheless holding some ideology. And why does he put this as one of the dangerous vrittayas? Why does he put it as one of the dangerous modifications of the mind? Because you know where it ends. This particularly is tremendously dangerous. Because you know exactly where it ends. No, it ends in insanity. If you are lucky, it will end in people saying that person keeps talking rubbish all the time, or that person really doesn't know what they're talking about, or we really don't comprehend. They are in some dream world of their own. They keep talking about something that nobody understands. All those are early stages of mental illness in most cases. When other people are no longer able to comprehend what it is that you are saying, either you are a supernatural genius, or as more usually the case, your mind is breaking down. So people keep saying that yoga is full of assertion. I'm like, no, yoga is brutal about replication. Can it be done? If you do the process, does this happen? It's very scientific in that way. And unlike the scientists, they have a little bit of humility and a little bit of understanding that all processes do not work for all people. They know, okay, that won't work for this person, try something else. That is the difference between the yogic point of view and the scientific point of view, in that science insists on replicability no matter what the changed condition, no matter what the changed environment, no matter the quality of the observer, no matter the time frame in which it happens, at all times it must be consistent, whereas yoga says no, that's not possible. I mean, with Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and all that, even science is conceding that the observer impacts. No, the observer impacts what happens. Yoga always knew that you cannot take the person out of the equation. Science is trying. But this much both of them believe. You cannot hold Vikalpas, Vastu Shunya. You cannot hold concepts with no evidence and no facts and no data and nothing tangible to back it up. There must be something real. There must be reality. And I keep telling people that yoga is not about taking you into an airy-fairy holy place. Yoga is about making you absolutely grounded. In a week I get a minimum of 5-6 emails from people speaking absolute gibberish. They have such strange ideas about yoga and spirituality and Indian culture, and I'm like, what is this? What is this childishness? What is this foolishness? Or you have these ideas that all scientific breakthroughs happened first in India. Newton stole the ideas from India, and I'm like, when you say such things, I can feel my brain cells die one at a time. As I read each word, I can feel entropy happen in my brain. It is the same problem. It is the same problem of Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. Shabda Jnana, because somebody said that they stole our ancient texts, and then these fellows apparently sat in one conspiratorial circle, and then they translated them, and then they started inventing stuff. No, it's a common belief. It's a common belief that most of our ancient scientific texts were stolen by Europeans, and that is why they had the breakthrough that they did. On what basis, I don't know, but enough people in authority say so. Therefore, it becomes a Shabda Jnana. And then let's not talk about feminism and things like that, because over there everything is catchphrase. Everything is patriarchy, misogyny, that's it, and like as soon as you can slot certain behaviors, and then most religious people are like that also. Because we have the one truth and there is nothing else, and where is the evidence? The evidence is that we say so. Or my organization's teacher is the best and the greatest avatar ever born. It's because we don't, like I said, Yoga Sutras not for children. Yoga Sutras are for real grown-ups. Yoga Sutras are for real hardcore, tough, pretty brutal people. Because if you look at this, it is an instruction to you. Shabda Jnana Anupatin Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. Don't do that. What you say, what you do, what you interact, what you have to figure out, on what am I basing this? On what reality? On what credibility? On what authenticity? Is it just a Vikalpa floating in the air, like I like it, therefore it is valid? Unfortunately, that's how most people function in the world. Whatever I like is valid and the truth. Whatever I don't like is evil. That's not a yogic attitude. Yes, no doubt. You see, before we started today, I was telling that I am so reluctant to speak on the Yoga Sutra, because while I explain all this, it is still not the meat of the matter. It is still not the truth of the matter. The sutras are structured in such a way that each word and the sequence of the words in the sentence has a certain vibrational possibility. And the more you grow in yoga, the more you start resonating with that vibration of the sutra. And the insight or the knowledge or the transformation of consciousness that it releases in you, this is the problem. There aren't words to describe it. I know what it has communicated. There is certain shift that has happened, but I don't have the words. Either the words have to be invented, or it is impossible to communicate in words. It is impossible to verbalize it. It can only be done from that level of intensity. And that is what makes the Yoga Sutra so mind-boggling. Because no doubt it is a great book, it is a fantastic book on the human psyche. I mean, I don't think there is any book like it. And it's a fantastic book of instructions on yoga and everything. But the Shakti within it, the Shakti encoded in each syllable. Vikalpa. If you really know what he's not saying conceptualization. There is something else. It is striking at a deep level of consciousness. It is striking directly at the pranamaya kosha. Vibrationally, it is striking you. Shabda Jnana Anupatin Vastu Shunya Vikalpa. There is a whole rhythm, I can see that rhythm, there is a whole layer there, there is a whole way in which it flows and which it impacts mind, body, emotion, prana shakti, and the frustration is it cannot be communicated. You can help somebody come to that level of intensity where they too can experience it, but you cannot articulate what is being communicated. And certain books are like that, certain books of intense power are like that. Aurobindo Savitri is like that. It is simply not possible to cogitate over it, it is not possible to think, to analyze it. You either are at that level of vibration or you're not. And then when I hear that people are doing, study circles of Savitri, I'm like, oh dear, okay, all right. One must have hobbies in life. It is better that you are engaging with Savitri than anything else. But the fact is, this is a record. The Yoga Sutra is a record of the experiences of one of the greatest beings the universe has ever seen. He is just putting down, these are the truths. These are smaranas. He is actually putting them down. When you come to that level of vibration, you will also realize, you will also recall, you will also experience and understand. It is not actually so much a teaching as just, look, this is what it is. This is what is possible. So, whoever this being was, whoever this Nagadevta was, man, there is nothing like it. There is nothing like it. I keep wondering, which was the greater achievement, Chidambaram temple or Yoga Sutra? When I am in Chidambaram, I think Chidambaram. When I am reading the Yoga Sutra, I think Yoga Sutra. But only somebody like this could do it. Only somebody so intense could do it. So, in a sense that this is a manual of yoga, yes. At a very pathetic level, yes, it is a manual of yoga. It is a smarana, it is a remembrance of what is possible. It is a remembrance of where the human being is going. This is what is done. And many yogis have said this. It is really unfair of Patanjali, because now what is left for us? He has already covered all the ground. And I feel so, but at a step down level, I'm making the best effort I can, that at least at a comprehensibility level, let us say, but I'm actually admitting that he is incomprehensible. You have to go totally beyond comprehension to actually get what is possible from the Yoga Sutras. Sarvam Shivamaya.